Yeah, I mean, that's probably be easier. I don't even know if I can name all the participants. LeBron, Marcus, and Gabe and Adu are all sort of under either return to play protocols or modified protocols.
Starting with LeBron, what do you expect out of him at the start of camp? Will he tomorrow? The preseason
Yeah,
games
I
starting?
think it's probably a little bit longer of a ramp up leading into opening night for him. Just obviously in year 23, uncharted territory here. So I felt, and in talking with performance and in talking with Mike and LeBron, like he probably did too much last year in camp, which was great for me as a first year head coach to get buy-in from him. But it'll be a slower process with him leading into the first game. He's obviously got 22 years so far of wear and tear on the body, and he's dealing with a little bit of nerve irritation in the glute. So just we're playing the long game with LeBron. Gabe, he's just modified. He should be good to go live by the end of the week, and we expect him to be able to play Friday. And that's just, again, the management of his knee that, we did last year as well. Marcus just dealing with a little bit of Achilles tendinopathy. He's been in a slow ramp up. He was a modified participant, nothing live today. We expect him to be fine by next week. And then Adu, I think, gave you guys all the information himself yesterday.
Coach, from the players who did participate, who stood out to you?
Luka was pretty good. I think a lot of times in camp, right, you're doing a lot more drills and you're doing games with constraints. We did 2 5-minute scrimmages at the end. So call it, 45% of the time was drills, 55% of the time was live, but a lot of the live play was with constraints. So I think the group really stood out, and it was just our energy, our physicality. We're asking these guys to have championship communication. I thought our talk was really good today, and we pushed ourselves. Like from a conditioning standpoint, we got a lot out of today.
Now, with year two, is there not as much trying to instill what the expectations are, or there's a lot of new players, so there is some of that?
No, there's always that, and it's different year to year. And I would say this, you use the word expectations, and I think there's the internal expectations of what's the standards are and what's required every day versus the external expectations, which kind of really don't matter because we kind of have to set that for ourselves, which that's a process to build. You don't come in day one and say, okay, this is our standard, these are our expectations, and then it's boom, perfect. It takes a little bit of time, and we, like we were last year, and like we'll continue to be all year. Like we'll be very clear with what the expectations are.
One thing all the players did say that they really said what you said, bring the championship shape and championship communication. That is the expectation of it. Is that fair to say? This is
Yeah, we have 3 priorities this year and 3 priorities only, and that's championship habits, championship communication, and championship shape. And there's no shortcuts to this. There's no shortcuts to success. There's no shortcuts to having a good season, great season, whatever. The league is too good. There's too much talent out there. There's too much balance. You have to be committed on a daily basis to those things.
Two kind of LeBron-related questions too. One of the things Luka has said a lot is sort of an excitement about getting into camp so that himself, LeBron, and Austin can kind of like problem solve and figure this stuff out. Can that still occur if he's not playing live as much? Are there ways, just like sort of like through osmosis, where that can happen? It's a good word, right?
Yeah, they'll. A couple of the guys know this. There's a fun exercise next week. There's a fun exercise next week.
Like a team building exercise of sorts?
We'll see.
Or like jumping jacks?
No. I don't mean physical exercise. But yes. To answer your question, yes, there is.
Okay. And then being around him last year and seeing, the way he hit that first week of the season, and then kind of, he had that break around around the in-season tournament break, recovery, whatever you want to call it, and the way he was able to come back and push, did that change the way that you wanted to work with Mike and Dr. Sims in some ways about like how to best sort of plan out, you know?
Yeah, again,
season?
you'll hear me use this a lot. It is uncharted territory. I don't think there's a blueprint for someone who's had this amount of mileage and this many minutes and been asked to do so many things on both ends of the court. And look, we asked a lot of them last year. We asked a lot of them to start the year in camp. So it's just working as a partnership to try to figure out what's best.
Was he receptive to? In the past, I know there have been times like
Yeah.
he's gonna have a minutes restriction, and then 2 games into it, it's like he's running through that minutes restriction. Like,
yeah.
He was on board with this.
Well, I've never put a minutes restriction on him. He's on board. Yeah, we're all on the same page.
JJ, as a follow-up on Adu, what has he been able to do between summer league and now? Because obviously
He's had a ramp up from running, cutting, jumping, then running, cutting, jumping versus coaches, 3-on-3 versus coaches, 3-on-3 versus players to live play prior to this week. And again, I think we've just got to manage him coming off of a knee surgery. And to be quite frank with you, he was not our player when he had his surgery. And so we did not have control over what he did for 3 months after the surgery. And so it's really just about, to use the LeBron phrase again, it's really about playing the long game with him. We look at this year for him as a developmental year. And there's no reason for us to sort of push his body and create any sort of long-term harm. But his knee is in a really good spot. We just want to be really careful with it.
Does it matter if LeBron plays in the preseason? Is that important that he plays a game at some point in the preseason?
It would be nice. It would be nice for sure. We would love to have that happen. And if it doesn't, we'll just make it work.
We won't cancel the season.
No, we'll still play 82 games.
Is there any discussion about his availability potentially an opening night for that?
That's the goal, yeah.
You mentioned in your Spectrum interview yesterday about wanting to get, not just thoroughheads, but wanting to get into the offense earlier. I think 18, 19 seconds on the clock. Championship shape has been something that you've harped on a lot this offseason. How much did those tie in together after you looked at last season in order to get to why the early offense actually? We have to be in a certain.
I really believe that all three of our priorities tie in together. And in terms of the early offense, you certainly have to be in shape. There has to be communication. Our habits, that part of that is execution, and I think it's execution of spacing, it's execution of knowing what we're trying to get on a possession, and you have to be in shape to sort of recognize all those things in real time. So it's all tied together. And I thought with our script, and we did a modified 3-on-3 game, I thought the emphasis was there. The guys did a really good job. They understood what we were trying to accomplish. They understood the purpose of everything we were doing today in script and in 3-on-3. And then that translated to 5-on-5.
JJ, what's going through the tournament against the lineup? Could that be in flex all season long?
Again, I'm not even concerned about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even concerned about it.
How does obsession play into priorities? Saw LeBron's wearing shirts.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Rob has a word of the season, a word of training camp every year. Last year was details. This year is obsession. Obviously, if you saw the shirt, you know that the 1-8 was part of that, which that's what we're all after. We're all after that 18th banner. I think understanding the priorities of the job and being obsessed with those and committed to those on a daily basis, that's what determines great players. That's what determines great teams.
It was fun. We had a good time. Competed, got after it. Like I said, it's fun.
LeBron, JJ told us LeBron is, the plan with him is to be a little more conservative, to take a longer ramp up. What are the ways you think that you and Luka can still forge kind of chemistry if he's not out there and live reps all the time?
Yeah, just communication. Have good dialogue back and forth. What everybody likes, what we think we can do to be successful. I mean, with him being one of the highest IQ guys to ever play the game, I think it's not that hard to piece it in, even if he's not out there right now. He sees the game just as good as anybody that's ever played the game. So, like I said, just having conversation, dialogue back and forth, what we feel like we could do to help our team be successful is going to be, I think, key.
How did he kind of participate without being on the court today?
How did he?
Yeah.
It's Brian. He's always gonna, observe, kind of how he does it and then communication. I think that's the approach that he's gonna take right now is just being one of our vocal leaders. That's what he's done his whole career. That's what he's done his last 5 years that I've been with him. So I don't expect anything else.
JJ mentioned that there's next week there's a fun exercise he has planned for you guys, a non-physical fun exercise in terms of, I guess, like maybe team building. He said a few guys know about it. Did he tell you, or do you know what he's talking about?
Hopefully it's golf. I don't know. He ain't told me.
Yeah,
So
told you.
maybe pickleball. He probably picked pickleball or something like that, but he's scared to. I've never beat him in a money game of golf, so I don't know why he wouldn't pick golf. So
Are you good at pickleball?
I've played once. I don't know. I had decent hand-eye coordination. I play more tennis, so he don't want to play me in tennis.
How did Deandre look specifically pick and roll with you and Luka?
Good. Obviously, these are very new reps. I was able to play a couple pickup sessions with him a couple weeks ago, so we've had a couple more times. It's the first time I've seen him and Luka play, but Luka passes the ball so well that he needs to expect open lobs, open floaters, things around the paint. But it looked good. But we're gonna have to continue to build that and kind of have that learning curve of knowing what and when we want to do stuff. So it was fun.
Also, now that you are a seasoned veteran,
I don't know about all that.
okay, now that you're a veteran, how does ramp up change for you coming into this season, getting ready for the regular season? Same,
I think it's the same for me. I've been in here, basically the last month and a half. I've been absent a little bit. My brother had a baby.
Uncle, huh?
Yeah, I'm an uncle now. So it was fun. I think it was, what was last month, September? Yeah, September 28th. So it's good. Congratulations to them. Very excited for that. Went home for that. But just been here, working out, playing pickup, having fun, just being around the guys.
Austin, did any of the new players kind of stand out? I know a lot of you talked yesterday about being happy that Marcus Smart's now on your side and on the opposing side.
Yeah, I mean, very excited to have him on our team. He's obviously, his resume speaks for itself, what he's done in this league. It's much better to have him on your team than against him. Competing against him sucks sometimes, but hopefully, he, does that to other players on opposing teams. So it's very, very fun to have him, Jake, DA. It's good. We got, a lot of good pieces.
JJ's mentioned an emphasis on head-to-head passes. If you don't get it, gets a primary ball handler, get into the offensive action, 18, 19 seconds on the clock. Did you feel that play out when you guys were able to play live in 3-on-3s, 5-on-5s, and if so, how do you think it went?
Yeah, I thought it went good. There was a couple opportunities where the pitch ahead was open and we got something quick. One time I think I threw it ahead to Rui. Rui got an one. So just trying to take advantage of those, situations to where you can get early offense, easy offense. So I thought it went well.
Also, how do you feel like your voice has changed from being a leader on this team? Because I know we talk about Bron and Luka, but I know you have an active voice on this roster. And how has that changed from your first practice all the way up to now?
I don't think I said one word my first practice. I was very quiet that whole year, and then the second year I came out of my shell and talked more. Just being able to communicate with the guys what I see, trying to be an extension to the coaching staff. We all got one goal, and that goal is to win. And any way I can help that come true is what I'll do. Perfect. Appreciate y'all.
And like with the Athletic, what was your first practice like as a Laker? Obviously got some pretty good work in.
Yeah, a lot of attention to detail. We competing. A lot of guys came in to camp into shape. So
everything really was going smoother. You know, I think the coaches like it. JJ liked to practice a lot, and I was just competing and being vocal from day one. So I like it. You know, it's pretty legit, and you know, everybody got a purpose.
You and Luka entered the league at the same time. Spent draft night together at the hotel before you guys made it to the arena. What was it like finally practicing with him as a teammate?
I don't even know, like something we spoke about or we thought about. You thinking what I'm thinking, and it finally came to life almost in a way. You know, coming up as draft prospects, and you know, finally here in 8 years in. It's our 8th year together. So, I mean, it's actually pretty cool to be this young in our age, and you know, finally link up and you know, to work together and just you know be a vocal point of the team.
What do you need from the coaching staff and the teammates during the preseason to be as prepared as possible for opening night?
What do I need?
Yeah. Or what are the things that will help you be as prepared as possible for opening night?
I don't know. They already gave me open arms, and the city already welcomed me. I don't even know what I need. I already got everything I need. You know, I just made sure of my endurance, and I'm ready to play and compete, and ready to do whatever I'm told. Basically, you know, whatever the team needs, I'm here.
Deandre, Brad Turner from LA Times. How do you normally use preseason practices and games to ramp up for the regular season?
I mean, that's how you get the rust off. You know, that's where you let the reps remove doubt. Anything you need to shape up or polish up a little bit, you know, this is where you get in the lab and, you know, you get it out your system. You know, watch film and, you know, get closer with your teammates and, you know, work on your conditioning. You know, just being available and, you know, knowing the task ahead and what the coaches want for the season.
Evan Garcia, silver screen and roll. I see the shirt obsession. You know, JJ just mentioned that's going to be kind of a theme this season. What does that word mean to you in a basketball context?
Obsession about your craft. You know, I'm obsessed about my craft being better and, you know, just bringing the best contribution to the team. You know, holding my end of the bargain. You know, putting work in where, you know, there's no questions asked, really. You know, walking in the building and just setting the tone, being a great teammate, and, you know, just being coachable.
Deandre, Kobe Price, OC registered. JJ's mentioned wanting to get to offense earlier. He said that you guys are able to do that in the 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 action. Just how does that fit?
You said what?
Getting into their offense early. He said that was also emphasized in that 3-on-3 and 5-on-5 you guys did today. Just how does that fit into how you want to play, and how do you think that could benefit quicker offense, early offense?
Oh yeah, the floor is open, man. I see where he has the 5-out spacing, and you know, Luka's the guy who sees the floor, and you know, our shooters in the corners, and you know, me and him working on pick and roll, and I'm seeing where you know, where my rolls to the rim, and you know, where Luka can put pressure on the rim as well on that big when we're in the 2-man game. I like it a lot. You know, there's a lot of space, and we got great shooters around us. And we also got another playmaker like Austin Reaves, who's super crafty. So, you know, it's fun.
I want to ask you about, you know, for you playing, you know, on the Bahamian national team, just, you know, how it is for the Bahamas, you being on the big stage again, like you have been in the past, but also being able to show people, you know, that, you know, you can come from that area and then still be able to succeed and be able to play for the Lakers. What it means for you playing for the Lakers, being from the Bahamas too as well.
Well, yeah, purple and gold, that runs the Bahamas. You know, if you're from the Bahamas, you're a Laker fan from the get-go. You know, because of Michael Thompson. You know, him setting the tone, coming into the league and, you know, winning the championship and stuff like that. You know, here I am following up behind him, just, you know, trying to be a part of this legacy and, you know, just not taking it for granted. It's a huge chip, you know, but like I said, pressure is privilege, man. If I wasn't doing that, nobody would be expecting anything from me. So, I mean, I'm really happy to be in this position as a player. And it's, you know, it's hard to explain, you know, putting in the work and you finally somewhere you want to be where it's accounted for. You know, accountability is something important.
Deandre, Arash Markazi from the Sporting Tribune. Have you talked to Michael about his journey? Both #1 picks, both came to the Lakers from Portland. Anything like
never
that?
talked to him.
Okay.
You said you've already felt embraced by the city. I'm just curious, like, what that, like.
I mean, the social media. I mean, come on now. Laker Nation, they control the social media. One post of you having the Lakers on your chest, everybody's going crazy. So, yeah, the social media did it. You know, everybody coming at you, expectations, the graft, the edits, all of that. Yeah. Fans definitely showed up.
Last two.
Ayton, did anybody stand out now that you're actually seeing them up and close on the Lakers roster?
What do you mean stand out?
Like, were you surprised by someone's speed or burst, or just playing up close with them in this context versus, being on the other side?
I mean, everything's surreal. Like I say, it's real when you get between them lines, man. It's all that daydreaming shit is out of the door. JJ is on it. Everybody's just amped up and super wired up. So, it's really all that pretty stuff is really out the door. It's people trying to work and get down to business.
Last question.
How was your workout routine? Nima told me you came.
How was my what?
Your workout before, because I know Nima was telling me that you came out here way earlier and started working out.
Yeah.
In the facility.
Yeah, if you've been in the gym this summer or in this facility, I've been around 24/7, in and out, 2 workouts a day. Just staying sharp as heck just to be prepared for training camp and, letting Luka and my guys know who are my playmakers, that I got them when it comes to screening and rolling and just being this defensive anchor the team wanted. So I'm just fulfilling whatever JJ wanted me to do, and, like I'm saying, I'm amped. You know what I mean? Like yeah, practice just taking a little, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to play.
Thank you, Deandre.
All right.
Thank you.